Back in this Thursday, as a Vancouver mother recently made headlines after answering her phone to hear her son sobbing after being arrested for driving under the influence. Well, it turns out he wasn't being arrested. Turns out it wasn't even him. It was an elaborate AI scam that was using her son's voice.
Tech expert Mike Yanni joins us from Calgary with more on this. And Mike, you have a personal story to share that is kind of similar to this.
Yeah, good morning. You know, the details between our story that we went through a couple months ago and the story from Vancouver, almost identical. It all started for us a couple months ago. My mom actually got a phone call from my son around 11 in the morning, and he was very upset, and he was crying. He said, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. I need help." And of course, she started, concerned. She's asking questions. She said, "What happened, Taylor?" And he said, "I was driving and I hit somebody, and they're in the hospital now, and the police are with me, and they said I can't go home. Somebody has to bail me out, and I need $3,000. So of course she starts asking questions about why you aren't in school, and they had all the answers. I'm in my spare. And he says, "Hold on, I think you should. The police officers here, they want to talk to you." So my mom starts talking to the police officer. He explains the situation, that we can't get a hold of the parents. We need you to put the money forward. And then, she said, "Can I talk to Taylor again?" And then Taylor said, "Grandma, I really need help." And that's what triggered it for my mom. I mean, my son's 17 years old, and he's never once called my mom Grandma. And that was, she started questioning things and went, "Wait a minute," click, hung up. And that's when she called me. And that's when we realized what had happened. We kind of put the pieces together. Very similar to what happened in Vancouver.
Yeah, I mean, this is so terrifying, Mike, and it seems to be happening more and more. And I think for a lot of people watching, they're just wondering, how do these fraudsters, how do they get the voices that are so close to their intended victims that they just sound identical? And this is a bit of a cautionary tale for people when it comes to your social media and what you share or maybe overshare online.
It certainly is. And talking about that voice, my mom said it sounded exactly like our son. She said it was maybe a little bit quieter, but the inflections were there, the mannerisms were there, and so she really thought it was him at first. The problem is, you're right, oversharing. Teens overshare on TikTok. Parents, adults overshare on Facebook. We kind of started trying to put the pieces together about what happened. My wife had posted that our son just got his driver's license. And how proud we are of him with his picture on Facebook. We do things like this. We're proud of our kids. We post things about them. It doesn't take much for somebody who's, a criminal to go in there, start, scraping all this information from our Facebook, seeing who the relatives are, who we're connected with, who our relationships are with. And I will say this, you guys. It only takes, if you post a video clip online, if you have an AI program, you only need between 20 and 30 seconds to replicate somebody's voice with complete vocabulary, inflections, mannerisms, everything. Think about that, 20 to 30 seconds. How much do we, post on TikTok? It happens all the time.
Yeah. Now, Mike, Google has developed software that could protect us from these types of AI voice scams.
Yeah, I love this because this is actually AI fighting AI. Google has developed new software that's actually going to be rolling out on its Android phones over the next couple of months. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to listen into your conversation when you're talking to people, and it's going to kind of listen for keywords, key phrases that scammers are known to use. Things like, "I'm calling from the bank," or "this is the CRA calling." And if it detects any of those, a little pop-up window is going to show up on your phone with a little ding, so you look at it, and it's going to say, "Hey, this might be a scam. Careful what you say, or you might want to think of hanging up or calling the authorities." Now, we don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but it's going to be built in some of the phones that'll be released later this year.
All right. And just finally, Mike, you also want to warn us this morning about another scam involving the sale of counterfeit iPhones that look pretty real.
This is one right here. This story came to light from our friends at Global Calgary here. Tomasia De Silva, one of the reporters, she was contacted by a viewer in Calgary and said, "Hey, I bought a phone on Facebook Marketplace and I thought it was legit." The guy came over, he opened the box. The box was sealed, opened it up, showed me how to work. I gave him $1,000. The next day I went to actually update the software and it didn't work. And that was the flag, something's not right. this turned out to be a fake. But I'm telling you guys, I know you're looking at some video of it comparing to another phone. This phone is legit. I've got it in my hands. It feels like a real iPhone. It's got, the cameras are in the right place. The buttons are all in the right place. Even when you turn it on, it looks like iOS. But there were a few telltale signs when we started kind of digging through it and looking, and I'll point some of those out because this is kind of a buyer beware thing. Some of the text, some of the font was slightly different on some of the apps like Calendar. If you tried using Siri, it didn't respond, so Siri didn't work at all. And then if you looked at some of the apps built into iOS and iPhones, like Wallet, for example, open up the Wallet, it looks right, but then you try to add something, and it's a dead screen. You couldn't add anything. You go into health, you couldn't add anything. So those were some of the telltale signs that this wasn't real. I should point out, if you actually have access to the phone, you can ask the person for a serial number. You can go to the Apple website and you can type it in and it can actually tell you if it's a legit phone. This case, the person actually did duplicate the serial number, so it didn't work. But buyer beware. You can always, if you're buying something on Facebook Marketplace, even say, hey, let's meet at the Apple store, and they can check it out before you buy it, because we're seeing more and more of these scams, and they're becoming so sophisticated.
That is a realistic-looking iPhone, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Mike, great segment, great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.